Now it's time to wake up. Kincaid and Saltunis is on the air. Broadcasting live on the Fanatic app and YouTube channel. Here are your hosts, John Kincaid and Andrew Saltunis. 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Well, it happened. To no surprise. Well, there were a lot of people that didn't want to believe it, but no surprise.
No, there were people who...
To no surprise.
They were shocked.
A.J. Brown is a member of the New England Patriots. The Philadelphia Eagles traded away A.J. Brown. They got a first-round pick in return from the 2028 NFL draft, a fifth-round pick for next year's draft in 2027. And the Philadelphia Eagles will now look to Devontae Smith to be the number one wide receiver. And as numerous people have said to us over the months when we've been speculating this trade would happen, it'll be the aggregate where they try to figure out how do we figure out the 1,000 yards that we're losing. A.J. Brown, say what you want about last year and how it was ending and how ugly this entire offseason was. You just lost a guy that had 1,000 yards receiving in each of his 4 seasons with the Philadelphia Eagles. John Kincaid, the day is here. Good morning.
It's finally here. It finally came down yesterday, and it's over. And we knew it was over. And look, there is a modicum of sadness, a modicum of relief. I felt more relief, I think, in the long term. I'll look at it and I'll say sadness the way it ended.
Yeah.
That's something I never understand people who blow up their own existences. I'm related to some.
Yeah.
I have dealt with it my whole life with some people.
You've seen it in this industry.
Yeah,
man.
I've seen it in this industry. I hate it because I see people who are happy, who have things going well, and then they blow up their own lives. But sometimes they take other people down with them. And in this case, AJ took others down with him. No matter how some people are going to try to spin to you, he took other people down with him because that was a disruption. That was a distraction last year.
It was a problem that was dating back to week 4 of last season. Well, even before it. But as you pointed out on the bus ride back, Johnny and I were in Tampa for that Eagles-Bucks game, and they just won. They're 4-0. It was 1,000,000 degrees.
Bad traffic jam.
You're just happy that they won, right?
Yes.
You're like, oh, my God, they have not won down here in forever. And even though the offense was dead in the second half and the defense was leaking oil, probably because the offense was dead and the heat was so bad, you're just saying, man, they got to win. I'm not usually like that. You guys have worked with me for 2 years now. I'm usually they won, but
yeah, you're more of that. I usually am more of a win and survive.
Yeah. But you know what? That day, knowing the heat, because I sat in there with you next to it.
It was terrible.
I was hey, they won, period. I was not dropping the butt.
No, let's celebrate it.
Until that Instagram post.
Yeah, when that Instagram post came in, and honestly, it was a calculated act. A calculated act to throw a grenade in the middle of what should have been happiness.
Yeah.
And it was a happy locker room from all accounts. I had to go back last night and read the accounts of the locker room. Mm-hmm. They were happy. The players in that locker room were happy they had survived. Not happy with the way they played, though.
Sure.
Disgruntled with the way the offense had played in the second half. But they were happy with the way that they had come away. They were 4-0. Nobody thought they're coming out of September 4-0.
No, absolutely.
Now, I had said to you I thought 4-0 was more likely than 2-2. Mm-hmm. And that was more, man, sometimes the, blind squirrel gets lucky. But AJ wasn't happy. And at that point, it was going to be now we find out, too, from other reports that, again, what we thought, that was what the meeting with Mr. Lurie was about, and stay off of Instagram, and then it became Janky Rango. And
the streamer that I never heard of.
Exactly.
So, look, it happened, and it's over, and we're going to have some fun with the people that didn't believe it at some point today.
Oh, yeah.
But to start the show, now that it is over, and it is real, and it did happen.
Oh, so it did. Okay, good.
How are you feeling now that it is over? What type of reaction does A.J. Brown get out of you? 610-632-0975. You mentioned relieved and sad. I'm more angry right now. I will eventually get to sadness, and I will eventually give him a standing ovation whenever they introduce the 2024-25 Philadelphia Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field.
No question.
In 2034. When they do that 10-year ring ceremony.
No question.
He deserves a standing ovation, much like Carson Wentz will deserve a standing ovation, even though some people might not do it. But right now I'm angry because you had such a good thing. And I understand self-goals, and I understand realizing true potential, and you want to try to achieve that. But, man, you had such a good thing going. And what we as Eagles fans have been looking for is this. What we as Eagles fans have been looking for is dominant wide receiver play because, man, it was a long time coming. What we were looking for was contention year in and year out, and we got it, and they won. We even whispered the D word, ladies and gentlemen. I did. That there was a chance.
You whispered it.
A chance. I wasn't saying that they have accomplished it, but there was a chance that they could become a dynasty if they win a second Super Bowl. And that wasn't good enough for one man. And that's the thing that pisses me off. One man, it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough for A.J. Brown that this team was back-to-back division winners. It was not good enough for A.J. Brown that they had won 2 NFC championship games in a span of 3 years. It was not good enough for A.J. Brown that they won a Super Bowl. He was happy that they won, but he wasn't happy with how they won because it wasn't his show. He
wasn't happy they won. I mean, he was morose about it. He went to social media and was like, I thought I'd feel good about it, but it just leaves me feeling like it's a different feeling. I thought it would satisfy me, and it didn't, and blah, blah, blah. And I knew it was nonsense. I knew it was the beginning of trouble. It was, because normal people don't act like that. No. They don't. They don't take it when everybody in a group is celebrating, when everybody who reaches a common goal is celebrating and is happy, and they haven't even had the parade yet. That is when everybody comes together and it is still one big party. And one guy decided to make it all about him, and that is when it all began. And I was worried about it then, and I sounded the alarms, and it played out. I did not think that was the way it was going to end, though. And again, I can separate the two. I respect the hell out of what A.J. Brown did in his first 3 years here. I applaud everything that he did, and I will never not acknowledge his greatness of what he did then. But what went down, the minute that crap started right after they won the Super Bowl, Saquon was getting all the love. Saquon was the star. Saquon was the focus. I want mine. I want my numbers. I'm not getting enough of the focus. It became the disease of me, and it tore him down.
Yeah. Now,
and that's a shame.
6:06. It's 6:08 now, but I saw it at 6:06.
What's that?
I thought it'd be quicker. I'm surprised it took 6 minutes. We got our first. This was media driven.
What do you mean media driven?
So, Sammy on our YouTube chat, I would like Sammy, and I'm saying Sammy even though I know he's not alone. So, Sammy, I'm not trying to single you out. You're just the first person that I saw say this. I know there are going to be many other people that have the take that this was media-driven, media drove him out of town, blah, blah, blah.
Media drove him out of town. So media forced him to put out a tweet after the whole thing after the Super Bowl about I'm not happy with the way things went. I need numbers. That's what motivates me. Not winning. So the media did that.
So Sammy's full comment reads as follows: make no mistake, the toxic media definitely played a role in A.J. Brown wanting out bad. The offense in Hurts was number one, but the media was a big part of it, no matter how Andrew and John want to spin it. So
how does he get that? How does he assemble that information?
So Sammy, you and your fellow Eagles fans that feel that way. I'm not saying fellow Eagles fans like all Eagles fans.
Sure.
I'm an Eagles fan. I don't believe it.
No, I don't believe it.
You're an Eagles fan. You don't believe it.
No, I don't believe it.
If we went through the timeline events, which we're going to later on the show, but I could start it now. Hell, before he puts out the post of when they won the Super Bowl and it wasn't good enough for him, what about the book?
Oh, yeah, the book on the sideline. Oh, that was cute.
Can we
cute.
like Can we stop acting like that was like normal? It wasn't. I know Connor bought the book, and Connor, I know you said it was very well written.
Good book.
And I know people made the case that he needed that on this. Come on. That was very much, are the cameras going to catch me? I know they're going to catch me.
Because
I'm going to read this book. This was also after he complained about the passing offense.
Yes.
This was after Brandon Graham. If you want to talk about media, Brandon Graham goes on a radio station and talks about how they don't like each other anymore.
And how Brandon Graham said one is doing everything he can to fix things, and 11 needs to do more. Brandon Graham in the locker room, one of the teammates who actually knows what's going on between the two of them, telling you Jalen Hurts is trying, A.J. Brown's not. So is Brandon Graham lying there? Brandon Graham ran his mouth too much.
I believe so,
ran his mouth a little too much.
Who knows how much we know or think of a riff if it wasn't for Brandon Graham.
And again, whatever will come out. And I saw Dylan, I saw Bill and everything like that. Now look, Bill has never been a reporter. Bill Colarulo. Dylan's never been a reporter. I have done the role of being embedded with the team every game, every single practice, every single game for an entire year, for multiple teams, for multiple seasons. Players are never going to say, yeah, that guy's a bad guy, bad teammate.
Yeah.
They're not going to say that. So when they say a guy's a great teammate or a great guy or whatever, and by the way, I absolutely 100% believe when they say that they believe A.J. Brown's a great guy. I think they believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I've ever heard, and by the way, everything I've observed, and any little personal interaction, very small personal interaction, I believe that's the case. And you can be a great guy. You can be a really, really nice person. And you can also be selfish as hell. And you can also be a guy in a workplace that drags the workplace down because you can't be a team player. You can also be that. And guess what? The players are not going to stand on a microphone and tell you that. They're not. I heard Bill talking about it yesterday, and I'm like, it's nonsense.
By the way, the one time somebody did speak out, Brandon Graham,
right?
We saw the bleep storm that created,
and they're not going to do that.
They don't want to do that again.
They don't do that, and you have to have, with all due respect, you have to have done the job to know what goes on, to have held the mic, to have been there every day. You have to be there at every practice, every game, and understand the players aren't going to tell you that. Now, behind the scenes, you'll hear more. And again, they can love a guy. You can love a guy.
Or 10 years from now, there's going to be a podcast that's going to have former Eagle so-and-so on, and they'll tell you the real
untold stories. By the way, if you believe stories about masseuses, you're an idiot. If you believe stories involve Hassan Reddick and this story, you're an idiot. That's all I'm going to tell you. You're just absolute nonsense. So I'm going to give you
that was a lot on the timeline last night. And I saw people saying, yeah, credible people are saying this.
No. They're not. No, they're not.
Maybe it is, but I don't know who the credible people I don't know who the credible people are that are saying this. I haven't seen that anywhere from a quote-unquote credible person.
Exactly. And of course, just after the trade goes down, all of a sudden this is like, oh, well, here's the story.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, sure. But
it's not like you had months to think of something like that.
It's great. By the way, Hassan Reddick, not even that close with either player. Not even that. It's nonsense. We know why Hassan Reddick's not here. His own selfishness, which ran him out of town because he stupidly overplayed his hand about his contract. That's why he's not here. Has nothing to do with any kind of masseuse or otherwise. That's why he's not here.
All right. Another question, and then plenty of reaction today. It won't be two chatty Cathys all day. You know, we'll get calls, texts, tweets. We have YouTube's buzzing right now. But I want to read a YouTube comment, and then I kind of want to open up this to Connor, because Connor has had an opinion. I kind of know what you're going to say, Connor, but to further the conversation, and again, people can climb in and answer this one as well. Our questions so far: how are you feeling now that it's over? What reaction does A.J. Brown get out of you? 610-632-0975. But Joe the Cynic checks in on our YouTube chat in response to our guy Sammy earlier that said, make no mistake about it, the media had a lot to do with this. Joe says these fans blaming the media are juvenile and have their head in the sand, not holding the player accountable. John, you said this a while ago. since when in Philadelphia have we excused poor effort, or poor play, and just like, it's all right. All this trade talk, I kind of understand why AJ wants to get traded. Like, since when have we as a city been okay with this? And Connor, you've given the point about you're afraid of what else is out there, or we've been through some pretty bad wide receivers. But now that it's over, do you still feel that way?
I mean, I'm not going to defend the guy. I'm not going to sit here and say what A.J. Brown did was correct, right? That he did, like, he screwed over the Eagles. Bottom line, that is how we got here. It's not media-driven. It's not anybody but 11, right? But what I will say is the thought process of, damn, I kind of don't want this guy to leave. I want this guy to be part of the organization going forward, despite what he did wrong here, is looking at the history of the Philadelphia Eagles receiver position. And a lot of this generation of fans, like our generation, did not see good wide receiver play outside of a TO year in 2004 and what we got when A.J. Brown was here. And some folks don't want to go back to that. Like, this era of Eagles football will always be intertwined with A.J. Brown being on this team. And it's scary to let that guy go, but you had to.
You're speaking the truth, Connor. There's no lies detected there. It's great to see it go, but you can't take that in a vacuum and ignore that when guys are not giving their all to the team, that can't be ignored. No, I was thinking of it last night. I love Mike Sealski. You know, I'm a huge fan of Mike personally and professionally. I couldn't get over Mike Sealski last night on socials, and I even responded to Mike, and I'm like, I can't. It's like we watched two different Eagles seasons last year. He's expressing this great sympathy for A.J. Brown. I feel great sympathy for him. I understand, his desire to be great. And I'm like, if you have a desire to be great, you don't half-ass it at work. That's the complete opposite. It's the complete opposite. If you desire to be great, you don't half-ass it. Period. Those who desire to be great don't say, I'm not going to give it my all today. That's so ridiculous. And I couldn't believe that I saw Mike, one of the best columnists that this city's ever had. I think he's very provocative. I think he's very talented. Like, espousing that. I feel great sympathy for, I can really understand where AJ's coming from. I'm like, what the frick are you talking about? If a guy wants to be great, he shows me he wants to be great by giving full effort. By going out there and kicking ass every day. We're going to talk later today about Myles Garrett, right? About one of the greatest players in the game today, right?
Yep.
Myles Garrett playing on a crappy team with nothing to play for. And what does he do? He goes out and tries to be a game wrecker week after week after week after week. Just be a game wrecker.
Yeah.
Giving full effort. He could easily say, man, I hate these Cleveland Browns. You know what? Trade me. And until you trade me.
Yeah, but he got his sack numbers, John.
Until you trade me, I'm going to go do it's so freaking ridiculous.
All right.
And it's a different era. And again, This is where I say to you, the Philadelphia sports scene has changed. I can tell you that's not being written by the Ray Didingers of the world back in the day. The Stan Hockmans.
Right.
Well, great sympathy for a guy quitting on his team during games.
So that's another question. Why did we excuse it so much? Why did a lot of us excuse it so much? 610-632-0975. Now, one thing on this this is a masseuse thing, because just seeing the immediate response on YouTube, like, why are you dismissing it? Somebody said, the bull RJ said, just because a reporter didn't say it. I'm not clinically online, as you guys know. I'm very pop.
It is. It's good though.
But I never heard of the guy that posted it, like this story yesterday.
You mean the fake story?
I never heard of this guy, and just kind of going through his old tweets, I don't think a lot of people did either. And now all of a sudden he has the full story as to what went down. So I'm going to have to wait a little bit before I won't shut it down as much as you just did.
Well, I can tell you flat out from people within the Eagles, there are some factual inaccuracies in the story that he's got wrong. Even if the story was somewhat real, there's a Jamaican saying, if it doesn't go like that, it goes something like that. That's a saying. So it could be something like that. But the story he put out has factual inaccuracies in it that are absolutely factually inaccurate.
Yeah.
So the story that he's put out is factually inaccurate. There are things that are factually inaccurate in there.
Also,
so now, could portions of the story be true?
Maybe.
Maybe they could be. But the story that was put out is absolutely factually inaccurate.
Also, from a professional standpoint, we can't necessarily run with that.
Yeah.
Yes, and you can't.
Like,
you gotta understand where we're at
You gotta be fair. Like,
Exactly.
We can't be like, who was the masseuse? Let's get to the bottom of this. And one more note. Somebody said they dismissed the story just like they dismissed the Joe Santoliquito story.
No, we didn't.
We had Joe on.
And I love Joe. Love Joe.
I believe Joe Santoliquito's story.
I believe Joe's story. Believed it the day he wrote it. Believe it now.
The timeline of events made a lot of sense.
By the way, it's great when people do the broad brush thing and they try to do it and they're like, oh, wait a minute. We have to do the broad brush and got to go like this because these guys didn't do that.
Yeah.
Joe. And Joe, by the way, Joe, very close to A.J. Brown's story, too. Knows a lot about the A.J. Brown story.
All right. Well, coming up next, your reaction. Check the Davis Honda text line. You can call in as well, 610-632-0975. For the longest time, Howie Roseman could only say A.J. Brown is an Eagle. Well, now that he's not, what does Howie Roseman have to say? Here's some of the quotes next. It's Kincaid and Sal Tunis, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Kincaid and Sal Tunis, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
All right. Some comments from Howie Roseman. He spoke to members of the media yesterday. It was like off camera. There's no video anywhere. I guess it was like a quick phone call to members of the media. Hey, let's talk about the trade that we all knew was going to happen, even though some chose not to believe it. This was Howie Roseman, quote, I think that when we looked at the totality of the circumstances and having the conversations we had with him, felt like where we were going, where he was, that if we could find something that achieved our goals of getting a first-round pick going forward here in the near future, getting the money back to spend on other players on our team and other teams, that it was a win-win situation based on where he was and how he felt. We were open to that. I think that's conversations that we had with AJ. I think that he just felt for his family that this stage of his career, it was something that he was desiring, that he was looking forward to. And all of our conversations, very positive about his experiences, Philly, just felt like going forward here that was something that he preferred. He wanted to leave the Philadelphia Eagles. He did not want to play for the Philadelphia Eagles. You want to say he didn't like the offense. You want to say he didn't like the quarterback from a football standpoint. Have all the theories that you want. A.J. Brown made it clear that he did not want to be with the Eagles. Howie, by the way, brought up the trade deadline and his name coming up a lot. So that was real. A.J. Brown didn't want to be with the Eagles last season. Like during the year, he did not want to be with the Philadelphia Eagles. He wanted to be
traded during the year. Like bottom line.
And now he's not here.
That's what the antics were about when they were 4-0, when he was trying to throw a grenade in the locker room. That's it.
And that's what, look, Howie's doing all the GM speak. Positive conversations, positive this, positive that. Screw that. I'm pissed off.
I am
because
too.
It allowed his play to be impacted in a negative way. Right? His play, he sucked at the end of the year last year, A.J. Brown.
He was giving up on things. But the thing is, he had problems early in the year. The Rams game.
Yeah.
I mean, other games where he just quit on routes. It was a problem. Well, and more importantly, too, he was I have Dylan McKinnon, our own Dylan McKinnon from Unfiltered. He was elected captain multiple times. Yes, he wasn't a problem till last year. And he was 4-0 when he started the bull crap last year. By the way, he had already been elected captain. Yes, he had already been elected captain. He was 4-0, and he couldn't stand it. He had to blow things up. That's on him, not anybody else.
Nope.
And certainly not on a masseuse.
Well, the man that broke the story that during the season he wanted to be traded.
Here he is.
Our man Joe Santoliquito. So there were rabbit ears. Clearly, Joe's awake. He's ready to go.
Well, Joe and I have had dined together from 9th grade. So, I mean, like he probably was listening. He had good quality listening.
And
Good morning, Joe.
our YouTube chat, some members thought that we dismissed his story.
No.
Not true. Good morning, Joe.
Hey, guys, how are you?
Good, buddy.
So Joe, I mean, you wrote about it that A.J. Brown wanted to be traded during the season. Can we try to get to the bottom as to what started this, whether it's football related or not, with A.J. Brown because of the theories that were online yesterday?
Well, on the field, I know there were times where he was open and felt as if Jalen Hurts couldn't see him or couldn't find him. He felt he was stagnating as a receiver with the limitations that Jalen Hurts wins with. The other thing, too, that kind of got me, and let me just say, the primary source for this, I'll word it this way to both of you, is 100% accurate. It's as close to A.J. Brown as you can get, wink, wink.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
So, and I'm laughing because there were people that were, you guys were hearing the same things I was hearing. You made it up, got it again. Well, it's June 1st, and he's gone. I made the whole Carson Wentz thing up too. So
if you could make up something for July 1st and August 1st, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, the content's good. Yeah. Appreciate it.
Look, is the idea that AJ, that this was anything more than football? Can you dispel that?
It might have been a little bit, which I could talk about off the air. I'm not going to.
Sure.
I will say this, and I'm probably not the only one yesterday. This was written. What appeared on Bleeding Green Nation yesterday afternoon was written in advance.
Correct.
Like I'm sure others have done across the board because everyone knew this was going to happen. And what got me, I remember when I did the original story back in January. Back in January, this was written about him looking and asking for a trade twice last season. Once where he thought his value was the highest after the Rams game, because if you look down at his game log, that was the best game he had last season. And he thought there'd be some takers there. I give Howie Roseman, I give the Eagles organization a ton of credit because they saw and they witnessed what happened in 2005 with the blow-up of Terrell Owens and how that whole scene blew that team up. We all lived it. They certainly weren't going to go through that again. And the very simple bottom line is you have a star receiver who's very popular with his teammates. They didn't want to create a schism on that team. You know what, AJ, you're not happy. Let's get out of here. We're gonna take care of this for you. And that was also part of the deal, which I don't think the Eagles are going to go public with. But think about this: after this cracks me up too. After Lurie meets him during the course of the season, AJ becomes the good soldier, keeps his mouth shut, gets off social media. So here's the deal: you be the good soldier, you do what you're supposed to do, which to a point he did. Again, we all saw what he did. We all believe A.J. Brown was capable, maybe far capable of doing more than what he did at the tail end of the season, certainly in that San Francisco playoff game. And he could not be his all, did not put his all out, which I think bothered, well, I strongly know it did bother some people on that team. But you know what, A.J., you want out, we're going to accommodate you. And that's what I tell you this, credit to the Eagles, because the Eagles weren't going to try to fit a square peg through a round hole. They already went through the misery of the Terrell Owens situation years ago. They weren't about to go through that again with, a popular player like A.J. Brown. And you know what? Here's the deal. Bottom line, very simple. Everyone's happy. I know Jalen Hurts, I got a strong feeling, is happy because there were games, I don't have this factually, but I kind of have a feeling about it, is that there were games where they purposely looked at AJ to appease AJ.
Yeah.
Sure.
And you can't do that. This is going to be a team and an offense that's going to spread the ball around, that's going to do its thing. But here, going back for a second in the Super Bowl season, we saw a team that was committed. We saw a team that everybody bought in. We saw a team that, you know what, I'm going to give up my numbers for the greater good. And everyone knew what they had to do to win. Who's kidding who here? We all knew what they were going to do. Here, run Saquon behind a big, strong, healthy offensive line, and we're going to win with bully ball. And that's what they did. That's what they won with. Everyone bought in. So, AJ does his thing. Well, now, I cringe by saying this because I really like AJ as a person. I want mine now. I did my role. I did what I was supposed to do. Now I want mine. And I think I was a part of this.
There are some that are going to spin, Joe, that, well, his teammates, they all think he's a great teammate and nobody was upset with him or anything. I don't believe that to be true. I believe that there were some teammates who maybe weren't thrilled with some of the antics. Do you believe that is true?
I definitely, John, I'm on the same page with you, without a doubt. There was a handful of that, without a doubt. But I also said this in the Vinny Big story yesterday. If you put an anonymous poll out as to who they would have liked to have had traded, A.J. Brown or Jalen Hurts, got a strong feeling a big percentage would have liked to see Jalen Hurts traded.
That they do not, that is a personal jiving with Jalen.
Yeah.
Yep, sure.
Yeah, but you know what, though? Here's the deal. Jalen Hurts is a franchise quarterback. Jalen Hurts, too, is a really good dude. He's guarded. He's quiet. He's to himself a little bit. He's nowhere near as popular as AJ was in that locker room. But he's a good guy. He's a good guy with limitations on the field. He's willing to. We'll see how the season plays out. He's willing to. Let's see if he's good under center. People also forget Jalen Hurts is 6'1". He's not a very big guy, and that's a large offensive line. It's a reason why he doesn't throw down the middle quite often, because sometimes he just can't see that portion of the field as well as he can the side of the field.
So Joe, last thing, because I refuse to believe that this was just football. Like I don't know what to believe. I'm not going to believe everything I read on social media, but I would imagine this is more than just football. You can't have that much success and just not be happy. So the two players that we'll always talk about are Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. Hell, it probably helps us say that because Brandon Graham himself talked about their friendship being fractured. Clearly, you're close to the situation. How close were those two guys at the beginning? And was there something that fractured their relationship so much that this was not going to be fixed?
They were close in the beginning. Again, there's certain lines that I won't go over professionally. John, give me a call after you're off.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
I'm not going to. But I got a hint, pretty strong hint. There might have been a little thing, some things going on behind the scenes, off the field. I don't know. I heard you guys say something about a masseuse.
Yeah, exactly. There were all kinds of. Yeah, there were all kinds of theories floating yesterday.
The theory that's out there on social media is that AJ and Hassan Reddick were both interested in the same masseuse.
Yeah,
and they were both canoodling with the same masseuse. Yeah. And Jalen knew about said masseuse, but didn't say anything. And that's what fractured the AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts relationship. So again, no, I'm not going to believe everything I read.
Well, don't.
But I refuse to believe that this was just football. I refuse to believe that this was just Jalen and AJ's offensive connection is the reason why they're no longer together.
Well, just don't believe nonsense is what I would just tell you. Don't believe nonsense.
There's an inkling of things that weren't just football.
Yes.
Yeah.
But guys not getting along is different than made-up stories.
We'll call you in 30 seconds, Joe. We appreciate the time this morning.
Thank you, Joe.
All right.
See you, buddy.
Fantastic, guys.
Take care,
There's
man.
Joe Santoliquito, who once again broke a story that people didn't believe. And
by the way, broke it right after the trade goes down, which it was already written. By the way, too, the idea that his teammates, nobody had an issue with AJ in that locker room. BS. Absolute BS.
Imagine giving it your all, and there's a guy that's not.
And as Joe just said to you there were teammates who were not happy with A.J. Brown. They were not happy with the way A.J. Brown dogged it.
All right, coming up next, we get a lot of your reaction to it. Text line, phone line, more on YouTube. We see that YouTube's buzzing this morning. We appreciate you being a part of the show today. You can text the Davis Honda text line, 610-632-0975. Also, we'll check the poll of the day brought to us by Dr. Avedon Appel. I was polled up yesterday, Johnny. I'll explain more.
I'll just let
that. Kincaid and Sal Chunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Kincaid and Sal Chunas, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
All right, 6:48 here on Kincaid and Sal Chunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Let's check the Davis Honda text line. Field of Davis difference. Check them out in Burlington. By the way, the New England Patriots Twitter account has already posted a video of A.J. Brown. He arrived this morning walking to the practice facility. It happened. So now that it happened, how are you feeling that it is over? What reaction does A.J. Brown get out of you? And I think this one's even like the deeper question. Connor and I both wanted him back, right? Like, we believed that the trade talks were real, but we both wanted him back. Why? Why did we, Connor, I'm saying we as in you and I, even though I know a lot of Eagles fans out there would agree that we wanted him back. Why did we excuse the poor play? Because it was like he gave up, and that's why I'm now angry. That's not why I'm not sad right now. I'm angry. I'm mad. It's not why I'll give him the standing ovation. I respect everything he did. Sure, I respect what he did, but right now, if you say the name A.J. Brown, my blood's boiling before I'm going. The good times. Why did we excuse it? What do we got on the text line?
Chris from Morrisville checks in and says, I feel like a handful of the greatest receivers were me guys. They were concerned with their stats over everything. So, yeah, it sucked it played out this way, but I kind of feel you don't get dominant A.J. Brown without this attitude. I'm thankful for his time here, but also thankful this is over.
You're thankful that it's over because we don't have to talk about it anymore. I'm not thankful that it's over. I mean, I have the Eagles' all-time receiving leaders right now, Johnny, in front of me.
Okay.
A.J. Brown is ninth all-time in Eagles franchise history. If you were to just do wide receivers, because the game has changed over the years, even though the Eagles have been very late to the party of dominant wide receiver play, it's still amazing that Harold Carmichael is number one. If it's just wide receivers, he's fourth all-time in Eagles franchise history.
Correct.
And in 2 seasons, he probably would have been the second leading receiver of all positions in Eagles franchise history. And in 3 seasons, he probably passes Harold Carmichael. He would have been the all-time receiving leader in Eagles franchise history had none of this happened. Even
Correct.
when he was upset, he still had 1,000-yard receiving seasons. And it wasn't good enough for him.
No, it wasn't good enough. It's bottom line. Winning a Super Bowl wasn't good enough. That's it. I mean, it's like I can't do anything more about it. It's where it's at. It's where we are.
Even in 2024, the year where they ran the ball to the Super Bowl, he had 1,079 yards in 13 games. He missed some time because of injury. Imagine if he plays the other 4 games. He might be a 1,500-yard receiver, despite not being the focal point of the offense, and that still wasn't good enough for him.
Imagine if you could just find a way to be happy. Just find a way to be a good teammate. Or if you're not happy, find a way to just do the job you contracted to play. And you were given 2 contracts for huge money by the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
How about honoring as a professional athlete the contract that you signed? How about doing that? But no, couldn't conduct himself like a professional. So there it is.
I'm really rooting for the Patriots to suck this year.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I know there's people that are, he's not here anymore, so what do I care? No, I want him to fail. I hope he finishes with 100 yards receiving next year. I hope he stinks. I hope the New England Patriots stink.
I'd love
obviously.
to see it. Yeah, I'd love to see
I'm rooting for A.J. Brown's demise as a football player with the New England Patriots now. And at the 2034 10-year ceremony, I will stand and applaud for him.
Correct.
But right now, I hope he fails. What else we got?
Joe from Media checks in and says, why did we excuse AJ's intolerance? Because we were enamored by the results when he did produce. Like it or not, that seems to be the society we live in today. Take the good with the bad if the good meets your needs.
I don't think that's incorrect at all. I think people will do that.
Yeah, but there are other players on that Eagles team that also won, and I have not been this annoyed with. I heard you guys yesterday.
Quitting on player, like quitting on your teammates,
right? Like that. What?
Can you think of who's done that? You guys as Philly fans, who's done that?
That we celebrated?
No, no. Who's celebrating? Nobody.
That's what I'm saying.
We don't celebrate. We don't celebrate it because it would be stupid to celebrate it. But if you're talking about it, we're talking about Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons
quit on his teammates. A.J. Brown quit during games. Quit, and people are celebrating like fanboys. Ooh, we love you, A.J. It's easy to acknowledge what he did the first 3 years and be a huge fan of him and say he was freaking awesome. But then you can look at what he did last year and say it's completely unacceptable.
Yeah, but it shows you the strength of what a Super Bowl means in this town. I think that's a large basis for why we're having this conversation.
Yeah, but you know what? We should have had more. I'll say it. Like, I know it's hard to win in the NFL, right? Like, it's hard to be a dynasty, and so it's not just easy. But we should have more. We should be having conversations of, all right, last year sucked, kind of like 2023 sucked. Let's get back out there. 2023 sucked. They won a Super Bowl in 2024. Just because last year sucked doesn't mean it's over. And this should still continue. He's gone now.
And as the texter says, Connor just made the point. In today's society, people are like, yeah, it's just the way it is. People half-assing it at work, not giving it their all because their own selfish desires. It's now people will excuse make for it. And people will accept it. And it's BS. It's complete and utter nonsense. It's unprofessional. It's ridiculous. It's childish. It's immature. It is stuff that should never be tolerated. But there are people that will fanboy out and go, well, we love AJ, though, what he did for us.
Yeah, I love what AJ
did for us, too.
But right now, he gets the pissed off emotion.
But it's terrible. It's unbelievable.
All right. Coming up next, not the only trade that took place on June 1st. We were all waiting for this one. We were not waiting for the one that happened before it. We'll react to the change in the NFC. Also, we will speak to the people that never believed this was ever going to happen. You have a voice as well. You can let your emotions out too. Hopefully there's also a my bad thrown in there.
We'll see.
It's Kincaid and Sal Tunis, 97.5 The Fanatic.